So a big 3 points for Spurs, a third straight Premier League defeat for Palace as it stands right now. And when you take a look at the table, Palace are in the top half of the table, in ninth as it stands right now, but just a point behind them are Spurs, who are up to 11th, so just 1 point off the top half of the table. But there is no denying that it has been an up and down year for Tottenham Hotspurs. We welcome in Aage Fjortoft and Gab Marcotti. It's hard to know how we assess the season so far, but let's talk about today's game and that win for Spurs, Jan, starting with you.
Yeah, it was. First of all, I think Tottenham deserved to win that game. We saw that, first of all, the goal, Gray, Shaka was talking about it. I mean, bad defending. I followed Glasner all his career. I follow his career at Palace. That was not a Palace game that we have learned to know, the success that he's had there. So I've never felt today that they could take so much out of this game. And VAR took away the two best crosses of the game. I feel for Richarlison. I just was sitting there thinking of me back as a striker. I'm a supporter of VAR, no, done quick. But wow, would I not liked it when I was a striker myself, because I would have lost so many goals. And I felt for him today. But at the end of the day, that was a deserved win for Tottenham, a big relief for Thomas Frank, because there's been a lot of talk about his position and his tactical ability to adjust. But today he came to Sellers Park and went away with 3 points, deservedly so.
Gab, what are those looks for to what Jan was saying?
No, well, first of all, I was wondering if Jan was saying that a fair chunk of the goals he scored in his long and illustrious career were offside. He seemed to imply that.
I was too slow, Gab. I never went in offside.
No, it's interesting. I was actually disappointed in Tottenham. You're playing a Palace side that's really stretched. They've got a bunch of players missing. Tottenham also have guys out, important players. Xavi Simons suspended, Romero suspended, and then, of course, the Kulusevski, Madison, Solanke gang, who at this point are basically virtual players because we haven't seen them all season. But I don't know. It seems to me like Thomas Frank Spurs, they either score goals in transition or they score goals off set pieces where sort of Thomas Frank creates his chaos ball. And to me, it feels as if he hasn't really made a mark on Tottenham at all since arriving. And it's part of what made him great at Brentford is that they could beat you in different ways. They could they could go out and they could play in different ways based on the situation. Here, it seems like he's preoccupied primarily with defending and trying to nick a goal. I don't think it's the football he wants to play, but I guess right now he feels it's the only football he can play, bearing in mind it was 1 win in 8 coming into this game.
Sorry, Shaka, I just want to say something. You said that this is not the football Frank wants to play. I think the bigger problem for Frank is that this is not the play that the Tottenham fans to play. But then you can't sign Thomas Frank and be surprised that he played Thomas Frankish football. That's for me the big challenge. Again, Tottenham has find something that I don't fit to their way, how they think themselves are going to be for their fans.
Well, it looks like Gab. Go ahead, Gab.
Sorry, if this means Thomas Frank plays bad defensive football, and then there's no point in him being there. I didn't see that at Brentford. I saw a variety of things. And I also have to wonder, you're on a team where you've got a billion wingers, Odegaard, Brennan Johnson, Matisse Tell, who's there for some reason. I don't know what he brings to the table because the guy never plays. There's a total lack of creativity in the team, even more so when Xavi Simons isn't there. You know that Kulusevski and Madison were on your books when you came in. Is this really how you won the job? Did you tell them this is the exciting football I'm going to play? Bergvall, Papsar wasn't there today, but you get my point. Bentancur and Palhinha, guys running around, banging into things, Kudus running into space, Richarlison as my center forward. Was this really the game plan?
No, first of all, I agree with Jan in that I thought Spurs deserved to win, but then that being said, that's a very low bar. I thought Crystal Palace were not good at all. Spurs just barely better. 2 moments of quality, both those moments ruled out for offside, and rightly so. But then the bigger question around Thomas Frank and his tenure at Spurs, and I'm less critical. I question, well, first of all, I think Spurs are littered with very average players, and I question how many of them are Thomas Frank signings. And the reason I say that is, even if you go back to the summer transfer window, players like Matthias Tell, who Gab mentioned, was signed before Thomas Frank was announced as manager. And I'm wondering, what did he do last season to deserve being signed on a permanent basis this time around? I'm not sure. So it never sat well with me. But Thomas Frank has come in, has been asked to change things. It's not changed an awful lot. But again, I put that down to very average player personnel for Spurs. And I thought was on full display. To that point, another player I never thought an awful lot of, particularly in a Spurs shirt, and I was a little bit surprised when they signed him this summer, was Xavi Simons, who Gab mentioned as being the one almost to be the creative spark for Spurs. Now, if Xavi Simons is the creative spark, again, that speaks to the average player personnel within that dressing room. So I'm a little bit less critical of Xavi Simons, of Thomas Frank, than their maybe league position or certainly their play would suggest.
Yeah.
But I've got an opinion, Jules. If I want to say something, because I think in today's football in England, just right now, whatever managers do, Emery kind of cruises all theories because he makes football players better. And we can say, yes, he has better players, but he makes players better. If you take one by one the players at Tottenham, it must be possible to make a quite good team out of them. And I think sometimes, because Thomas Frank is easy to like, Amorim is easy to like, because they are both maybe too honest where they are. They are too honest about the challenges, the problems they have. And maybe we judge them maybe sometimes too light, Shaka, because they are so likable as managers, because they got enough players at Tottenham to sort out the team there. I mean, Emery got to sell players, they have financial problems, and now he's chasing for the title.
Yeah, I think